Hello, Cubs. How are you today? That's good to hear. Today we're going to be talking about eating disorders and a couple common myths about them. I hope that you can find this video validating about your own body and the way that it works. Let's start off with the biggest myth, that if you're not extremely skinny, you don't have an eating disorder. You almost have to be the, quote, stereotypical African, unquote, where they have in those advertisements, those extreme poverty charity videos. You don't have to look like that to have an eating disorder. Anybody can have an eating disorder. You can be any size or shape, and it does not matter. Because if you have an eating disorder, you have it. You don't have to be extremely skinny to have one. The next myth is that only teenage girls are affected by eating disorders. This is also false. It is common in teenage girls and young women. Why that is? Probably a whole bunch of reasons. I like to think, or I shouldn't say I like to think, but I believe that it's because that younger women, especially women in their adolescence, are taught, quote unquote taught, by society that their worth is based on their beauty. And some may develop eating disorders to try and, quote unquote, be beautiful. Of course, that's absolute horseshit. But going back, anybody can be affected by eating disorders, no matter your age or your gender. Another myth is that people with eating disorders are vain, and that they obsess and are so self-obsessed with themselves. That's not true. It may be true for some people, but the majority of people who have eating disorders have them because they're trying to deal with things, emotions or situations that are uncomfortable and that they cannot control, or that they don't know how to control. Maybe stress, or the last myth that I was talking about, young women wanting to feel, quote, beautiful, unquote, and so they essentially starve themselves to try and fit into the, quote, ideal body, unquote. I keep using quote unquote because these are just stupid terms that really don't have any definition. Beautiful doesn't have a definition. So whoever you are inherently beautiful. Another myth is that eating disorders aren't dangerous, or they're controllable. They are controllable to an extent, and you can help manage them. But it can be first of all, really invalidating when somebody says that, oh, you don't have an eating disorder, just eat your food or don't eat food. If you're, overweight, just go for a walk. First, those kinds of comments are really invalidating, and second, they're completely false because you can't just do it. If that was the case, then nobody would have an eating disorder in the world. But of course, that's completely false. Eating disorders, all types of eating disorders, can lead to many health problems, both short-term and long-term. And there's so many different effects that it can cause, negative effects. And it's very dangerous. So if you have an eating disorder, don't feel like you don't deserve to get help because it's not that bad. Or you don't feel like getting help would help you in any way. I promise that just talking about it with somebody will help. And that's if you're comfortable with talking about it. If you're not ready to talk to someone, a mental health professional or doctor, I would recommend writing out your feelings. Try and figure out on paper why you have certain tendencies with food. Maybe you eat when you get stressed, and maybe writing down those feelings, those emotions when you're stressed can help you figure out what's going on. And in general, keeping a journal or a diary is very important because it helps you sort out your feelings. Even if you're writing literally exactly what you're thinking, like word for word, you just keep writing exactly what you're thinking. It's not condensed in any way, or you're not thinking about your thoughts in any way. You're just literally writing down everything, doing sort of a mind dump. I promise you, there will be good that will come out of that, because writing down anything helps you sort through it all. It helps you realize what you're saying, or what you're thinking, sorry. It's the same reason why, if you've written a paper or a report or an essay, when you read it out loud, you see all of these errors. Because thinking and reading out loud is one thing, and thinking in your head and reading in your head is another thing completely. When you read out loud, there's a different thinking that happens. You are saying something, and as you say it, you kind of realize, how ludicrous this is. If you have in the case of an essay, you read it and you're like, well, there should be a period here, or this sentence structure isn't good. In the same way, when you're writing out your thoughts, and especially if you read it back, you think how ludicrous some of the things are. And it can really help to ground yourself. For me, it's really good, because if I'm stressed out about something and I write it out and I think, well, why am I stressed out about this? I shouldn't be. Or if I'll write things out and I'll see that, okay, I'm really stressed. I didn't know that I was this stressed about this particular topic, but I'm really stressed out about it. And you realize things that you never realized before. So please, if you have an eating disorder, please get help, professional help. I'll put some resources down below. And I hope that I can help. And I hope that if you do have an eating disorder, please write out your feelings. If you don't have a journal, please start. Just get some paper and start writing out your thoughts. Yeah. I really hope that all of you are doing good, all of you are safe, and all of you are having fun. I love y'all. Stay safe, Cubs.